Now you guys have audio? There we go. This YouTube, man. YouTube. This is terrible. All right, so there's 5 people in here. Everyone's listening to me just talk at nothing. Woo! All right. Well, if you're not watching it, maybe I'll have to hit edit or figure out a way to cut out that first few minutes. Anyways, so my name is Brett Carlsen. I'm a photographer, photojournalist, filmmaker, kind of do everything type of person like most of us are. Graduated from RIT in 2012, did Eddie Adams, all that kind of stuff, NPPA member. And now I work and live in Nashville, Tennessee. And I continue to work for news. I'm glad that you guys are all hanging in there and listening to me talk with no audio for that long. All right. So I shoot a lot of news, I shoot sports, I shoot advertising jobs. I do kind of a good mix of everything. And so here we're going to look at some portfolios just to show you some of my work. This is kind of a feel of what I do, a mix of doc stuff, sports, some video things, stuff like this kind of world. So yeah, so we're going to jump around. I got a couple people queued up. I got a lot of people here that are all kind of ready to go. So we're going to hop right into it. So this is all in no particular order. So if I don't get to you today, then I'm kind of sorry. But I got a lot of people, and now we have a half-hour delay, like always. YouTube is just like a pain in the butt, it seems. So first off, we have Mikayla Jade. First off, I'm going to pull up the Instagram so we can kind of check that out. So it's West Bend, Wisconsin, Missoula, RMSP. I don't know what school that is. But anyways, so if you want to follow Mikayla, that is where you're going to do it. Mikayla Jade Photo. And we'll go back to this portfolio. So portfolio is nice and clean, easily labeled. We're going to start with some action. I had this problem last time where it's like, because of using this thing, I kind of have to like, everybody's website is huge on the screen right now, but oh well. All right, so starting off with some football. Cool, I can do it this way, which is a little easier for everyone to see. I'm gonna make this dock smaller again. I forgot to do that. I guess a little bit more real estate. All right, a little entrance shot, ball carrying, touchdown. Some of this, some celebration. Montana's so remote and so pretty and so awesome. And there's like, I feel like no one ever gets to go to Montana because it's so far away. And everybody should go to Montana because it's so pretty. It like just got 1 million people to live there like a few years ago. I remember when I visited, they're like, oh, we just hit 1 million residents like last year, which was crazy. All right, so we got a good mix going here. Just going to get through this quick so we can go back to the beginning. So first thing I'll say is there's a lot of photos here. This is a lot of stuff. One thing I talked about last week, and I'll probably talk about a lot, is we always want to leave people wanting more when we're building a portfolio. We always want for people to have, we want them to come back and look for more or reach out to see more of something. That's usually a good way to start. Like if you got 12 totally awesome pictures and you got a few on the fence, we'll just stick with those 12 and, the other ones, leave them off, let other people, ask for them and then whatever. A lot of times when you're applying for jobs, people will rule someone out based on the photographs that they see that are, they'll basically rule people out in the photos that are bad. Zach, I don't know how to hide that doc, dude. At least not on a hurry. Turn hiding on. Boom. There we go. No more doc. So number one, we got a lot of photos here. I would cut this down, not even based on merit or content, just just cutting stuff down, getting a little less stuff in here. With this football photo, we're standing up, and we talked about this last week a little bit, but generally you want to be down low on your knees or sitting on your butt, so you can see up into those eyes. This person's far enough off that you still get that good view. But if you were a little bit lower, instead of having Coca-Cola and stuff like that in the background, we'd be looking at like the stands and seeing the fans and stuff like that in the background, which is just a little bit more pleasing. This one's from the side, good celebration, stuff like that. It's a nice clean background because of that gray, which is awesome. Usually there's like a neon green security guard or something sitting in there. So is that, that's awesome. Effing chat for that, Doc. What? Um, pay respects. So this I would take out. I mean, this kind of stuff is the stuff you send to them that maybe they'll repost or something like that. But it's not really something that's portfolio worthy. If I'm like looking at this to hire you, this is something anybody with a camera on the sideline could do. So I'd take that out. This is all right, but it's like a practice. Again, it's kind of funny. It's like a good moment. The bottom half of this frame is kind of a nothing for me. I think right about there is kind of where your frame is, and then I don't know if it's practice or not, which makes the photo better at first glance, and also it's more focused on like what's important right there. This is a good celebration, standard celebration. I like the way this is kind of a different way of looking at basketball. I don't think it's really clean frame. I think like all of this stuff in the background. I don't know if I didn't get a good system down last week, so we'll see if I can get something a little bit better. But all this stuff in the background is just kind of, like all of this stuff, This is just kind of messy. Oh, I did that wrong. All this stuff is kind of messy, and it just kind of doesn't. It's not the right vibe. Keep working this though. This will be a better frame in the future. Don't save. This good celebration too. Solid little action shot. This is fun fan shot. I don't know if it's portfolio level. I mean, this guy's hamming it up for your camera. You kind of want that pure emotion. That's kind of what you're more looking for on like a fan shot or something crazy. And this feels a little bit more like a hammed up one. But it's good that you're looking outside the lines, outside of the field. We want to be seeing stuff like this. It's a decent basketball dribble shot. It's not really peak action. It's kind of just like, it's something you'd file, but maybe not super peak action, but nice and clean. That's always a good thing. And across all these photos, your technical stuff is looking great. I mean, your colors are great, toning, stuff like that. They all look, no issue here. This one's nice. I would probably crop in just a little bit tighter somewhere like in there. Just kind of get rid of that lined up like the exact same size. So we kind of get rid of some of that extra stuff, in the background, and just get into those emotions quick. But that's a solid Juby photo. Another great celebration, good one. I don't know how you'd crop this any tighter, but yeah, you could opt either way. But nice full stand, stuff like that. I even like this guy over here, girl in the corner that is celebrating too. That's kind of cool. So the crowd's all matching. That's a nice solid football celebration. So this is a thing in portfolios we talked about last week a little bit. You want to balance out, like I feel like if you have like a really good one of something, whatever that photo is, whether that be like a football celebration or environmental portrait, something like that, like you want to kind of keep that same level of quality. So when we have something like this, this one's really, really great. We got this awesome action. Let me go to this one, and it feels a little less good. And when they're right next to you in the portfolio, it makes this feel even less good than it is. If that even makes sense. That's not English, but I just feel like when you have like a really good, like a B+, A+, and this gets back to what I was talking about earlier, that you have to be kind of being a little bit more strict on what you're putting in your portfolio. At this point, I feel like we're getting a little bit of extras. Like this does not feel like a portfolio photo at all. This one's okay. It's a little less clean, a little less punchy than some of your other ones. I feel like you use a little bit longer lens and kind of push some of those people in the background a little further out of focus and get a little hotter, like right on his face and stuff like that. Just make him pop a little bit more with a little bit longer lens. A crop will do it, but like in reality, this needs to just be a little bit longer lens. This is, I don't know what this is, probably 50 to 100 range. And I feel like you just need to be like a little bit above 130 or something like that. This is kind of interesting, going down low, getting on the court. I mean, I'm not against black and white, but I feel like in a portfolio, unless like everything's black and white, it is a little jarring going back and forth. Personally, I don't know if everybody feels that way. I just feel like you got all these technical stuff down that a lot of people can't do. Like a lot of people just in their portfolios, especially as students, they'll have like orange colors or bad toning and stuff like that. And all of yours look really nice. So I mean, if you have that going for you, like keep that going for you and keep showing that off as an asset to somebody who's looking to hire you. And then when you go to black and white, a lot of people go to black and white because, I mean, artistic or whatever, yeah, but like a lot of people go to black and white because their colors don't look so good. So this one, it's all right. The background's kind of, it's a little bit empty. The stands, a lot of the action gets lost on this photo for me, but it's still still a good look. Still kind of cool. You down low, get that court reflection and stuff. But I think this is another almost. Isn't that bad? I mean, in a portfolio where you're looking for jobs, this is not a bad one to have. You know, again, we kind of got two of the similar ones next to each other. Like, is this one good? Is that one good? I don't know. I mean, they're both pretty solid. I just think we're getting into the ground of like too many photos. A lot of people might not go through every single photo in your portfolio. And like, do you want them to stop on the cheerleader photo or the mascot photo and not get to this? Because this is awesome. I mean, this is really, really cool. And like, this looks great. I mean, this is hand in the helmet, action. As I said before, you kind of always want to be lower. You want to be down a little bit lower than them because you're looking up and you have a better background. But this still looks awesome. I mean, so yeah, again, you get into this like too many photo category, and now you're gonna have like people might not get to this really great photo because they stopped on something kind of and again, this feels kind of You want that peak action, the peak emotion in all these. This is another one that kind of feels like a little bit not as exciting as the others. And I think if you come into something like this, then whoops, my bad. Well, you can just ignore that. But anyways, just kind of crop it in to this top section a little bit cleaner. Again, shooting with maybe a little bit longer lens. Just cropping the hell out of these photos isn't always the right solution. This is a cool way of seeing the leg in the foreground. Kind of kind of wrecks it for me. But cool that you're doing something different. And I think like with this stage lighting you got going on and stuff, you can really make something special and artistic. Maybe play with this again next year, assuming that maybe you're a student next year. I don't know. But if you are, then this could be a series of photographs with all these different colors where these human bodies just become color. And somebody out there is like, man, last week you said something's got to be sharp for a blurry photo, man. And it's like, well, it's subjective. So if you're doing something this intentional and like this stylized, well, that's could be different. Basketball, this is okay. I kind of want this from the other side. I want to see that face a little better. Again, it's like not a lot of these pictures that I'm like kind of rip on. It's not that they're bad pictures. They're just like maybe not something that I would put in a portfolio. So like, would I file this, the day of for the newspaper or something like that? Sure. But in a portfolio, you want to show that like, this is my best work. So, this is good to have the sign and stuff like that in there. It's a little bit more about the sign than it is the mascot, maybe. So maybe when the mascot's closer, or you get in the stands, stuff like that. And again, I understand this isn't always possible and this isn't always a thing, but again, this feels like maybe something you file the day of, but maybe not something that belongs in a portfolio. This I would just take out. It's kind of artistic. It's kind of going for that like squared up look, but I don't think it's there. It's not artistic enough. It's not sportsy enough. It's kind of good little moment in here. I feel like the bottom of this photo could come up a little bit. You kind of get rid of a little bit of that bottom since it is like a kind of a 4x5 crop. But good moment. I like this. It's nice, quiet. A lot of players I know kind of really like these kind of photos because this is what's more important to them. This would be out for me. I mean, again, maybe file the day of, but it's a little bit weird. This would totally be out. This is decent. You need more peak action in your basketball stuff. You got a lot of like pretty run of the mill things, and that's awesome. Hey John, I probably have enough for today, but feel free to drop it in so other people can check it out. Because I mean, somebody might just have this up and maybe they want to check you out too. So yeah, we're back to the beginning. So get through those sports, see what's new. Athlete portraits. This is great. Um, this is super cool that you're playing with this stuff in college. A lot of people don't get to do these things. They kind of don't get, you know, work on this sort of stuff in school, especially if they're like sports people. A lot of people just like shy away from the lights, and it's something they really need to be doing because I mean, this is really important. And you know, as a sports photographer, this is stuff you get hired to do. Um, as a whole, I'm kind of getting like one look from all these, which is not bad, but it doesn't feel like a series. It feels like it's kind of the same guys on the same, uh, you know, it's kind of the same guys doing the same things at the same. Like this is all from like one or two shoots, right? So it doesn't show a lot of variety. It doesn't show a lot of things you can do. So you just need to keep expanding on this, you know. And if you're going to do like different things, maybe you find a way to get different subjects, different people in there, um, just so it looks like to someone hiring you that you've been doing this over time and developing and honing the craft. As far as these photos go, they're a little bit flat as far as your lighting goes. It's kind of like everything super white background, super flat lighting. You probably had two lights, one kind of like here-ish and one like here-ish. You know, try to bring in more contrast. And again, I don't know how it's showing up on the live stream, but I'm looking at it off of this. So I think maybe a little more contrast, a little more direction, and you know, keep working it, keep trying new things, keep looking for new things. These ones in the living room or the house or whatever, they don't they don't work as well for me. This is a good practice, good test. But I think I would keep I would keep developing things and like take that, you know, take something like this and apply it to something that feels more polished, a little bit more thought out. These don't feel as thought out as the other ones. But awesome to see you doing lighting. Awesome to see you playing with this stuff. I know a lot of people looking for interns or to hire people and stuff like that are going to be stoked on this kind of stuff. And you know, this is going to be great. So it's awesome to see you doing these things. This one I really like. It's probably one of my favorites out of the whole bunch. It kind of feels like, again, like you took that multi-exposure kind of blurry thing and then you gave it a little more purpose. You know, we don't have that floor in there. And I think these can be really interesting. Sometimes something you can do is like if you have just these two colored lights, you can then add in like a white light from above and just kind of splash it down the face, and then move these a little bit more around the back. Put in some black cloth, add in some negative fill so you get more like deeper shadows, stuff like that. These are kind of some things you can mess with and play with. But yeah, I'm stoked to see anybody like doing these sort of things, having in their portfolio, because I think people that are hiring will be excited about it. And they look really great. I mean, like these stand out, which is awesome. And that's what you want your website to do. So I am positive, like if you were applying for some jobs and internships, like this could be a deciding factor that you have lit portraiture, because they'd be like, oh, I can send you to XYZ. So I got more of like a lifestyle style kind of fitness thing. So you just feel a little underdeveloped when you're getting into the world of like advertising and things like this. Like you really got to hammer down a lot more things and make their. John, I'll get to that in 2 seconds. These just feel like you're still learning and you're still growing, and that's awesome. But just keep pushing it further. I think if anything, you can err on the side of bright. Like this one's a little brighter, a little more light, and it feels more like what an ad would have currently. And those styles will change over the years. They will always change. But this feels more like it could run. And like this feels more of like the tone, the tonality, the color, those sort of things. That feels a bit more of like what I think you're going for. While, for example, this feels a little dingy, a little more editorial. And it's, again, cool you're bringing those lights in there. But when you're doing anything that's like advertising or lifestyle, you really got to control like all of these aspects, you know. So are those weights in the background exactly where you want them? You got to move them. You got to do those things. You know, is he wearing the shirt you wanted to wear? Like, you know, you got to control that stuff. So again, you know, like this one, that lamp post or the lights in the background, like coming out of that tire, is kind of distracting. So, you know, if it's for advertising, you can take that kind of stuff out. But if you're, you know, kind of showing this portfolio for like editorial and advertising clients, you kind of gotta be careful about doing that kind of stuff to your work. So yeah, just keep developing it is going to be, what I would say. So, all right, that's fun. This is awesome. Great. You have your contact info right. That's what you want. So, and again, this is Mikayla. John asks, what is negative fill? And I know Zach is like holding at the reins in the comment section. What negative fill is basically the opposite of like what we think of as fill. So generally when people set up stuff and photo, people are, adding lights, and then they're adding like a bounce card, like a reflective silver or white item that will bounce light into the other side of the photo. And a negative fill is basically the exact same thing, but instead of bouncing light in, it's black. So it'd be like a black cloth. Sometimes it's like a black foam core. And basically it just makes the shadows deeper and darker. I don't have anything to show you the effect right now, but basically like right now in this room's gray. It kind of just does whatever the lights are doing. But I got a light here, I got a light up there, and I've got two more in the background right now. So if I have this light here and this is my key light, over here I could put like black fabric, and that will basically make these shadow side deeper and darker, which is basically just like going to make just up your contrast on a photo, a person, whatever. It's actually a really great trick for making portraits on a really cloudy day, because on a really cloudy day, you kind of got this big, huge softbox that's like everywhere, and you come in and you take this black cloth or fabric, you put it on a big stand, spread it out like 3-4 feet, and put it right on a side or up and over somebody, and it basically blocks that light. So now this light gives the light some direction on a cloudy day. But yeah, use that a ton in video, and it's kind of where I learned it from, but now bring it into other things as well. So that is Mikayla. Mikayla, thank you so much for sending your stuff in. It's awesome. Got a lot of people, but just kind of pick some people at random to start with. If you are watching, which it says there's like a dozen people watching, fire off in the comments. Send me questions. Put in your Instagram handle. Do anything you want to kind of get the ball rolling, get the conversations going here. It helps keep this interesting beyond me just like talking at everything. So second up today is Jess Replogle. I didn't know if it was a guy or girl or whatever in between. And so Jess is content creator at MLB, media intern at the Capitals, which means she probably works with Patrick, I would hope or think, who's a friend of mine. So cool. So we are going to go here, photo, and awesome. I love that people's sites are easy to navigate. And Andrew, welcome back again. Andrew was in episode 1. If you go back and watch that, you can see Andrew's work on there. He had a killer shot of Ben Roethlisberger. So I love that these websites are really easy to navigate. It's something that like basically your website doesn't matter. Whoever website platform, whatever you want to do is all acceptable. But you just want to make it easy for people to view, to see, get through it. And you just don't want your website to be a barrier to get to the work. That's like the worst thing that could happen. But anyways, so this is Jess's work. I also love that there's captions. Again, if you're trying to get hired as a job doing news or sports and stuff like that, captions matter a lot. So you definitely want to just make sure that people can find them if they want them. I know some people do, some people don't. So it's easier to have them and have people ignore them than not have them, and then people want to know how well you write a caption. So the Globetrotters, cool that they got an award. That's cool. I mean, yeah, Globetrotters are wild. So great shot, super clean, background's clean, good moment. Yeah, it was a fun one. Oh man, Caps win. Yeah, this is a good overall good shot of the arena. This is a good variety in a sports photo to have in a portfolio. It's kind of cool. You started off with two like maybe atypical sports. I mean, that's an atypical sports photo. People don't normally do backflips into basketball dunks. And then we go into the second one, which is stadium overall. That's like a super huge overall, which is really, really cool. So good. I like technical stuff is one of those things that should be in the background, but like both of these are pretty technically sound. This one especially just looks great. Great color, great balance. All looks good. Good shot of Ovi and the boys. Um, so this was, so this would be like, so I'm reading your caption. It says 6 Make-A-Wish children honoring members of the Washington Capitals starting lineup join players on the ice for a ceremony before the team takes on the Vancouver Canucks. That's awesome. I can't really see those kids. So I feel like if you spin around to the front and get more of those kids in there and with the players behind them, and we see what this means to those kids and how stoked they are. And like, you know, I mean, this has got to be pretty special. I mean, I don't know how many people get honored to be part of a hockey team, but like that's awesome. So I really love that we have those lights in the background, and the purple is just great. I mean, those are all great things, and it's great. I just feel like if you just flip around to the front and get those faces and get those kids' face, and maybe you isolate on one of those faces with all these big out of focus, you know, stars, you know, and make that kid look like the rock star that they are at that moment. That would be awesome. And sometimes that stuff's not popular or possible, but still a good frame. I just, if it's about the kids, I can't really see the kids in this photo. Solid tip off from a technical standpoint. It's a little yellow green to me, but good solid tip off. Love the emotion on the guy on the right, the Notre Dame player. But nice, clean, background's good. Arm in the bottom is a little bit distracting, but you know, super solid. Tennis. I love how like the most weird sports are like people are like the most intense of. It's always super entertaining to me. But anyways, tennis photo. Elon University student serves the ball. There's no ball in it. I mean, you know, it's always like 2 faces in a ball is like, you know, like the sports motto. You want to have a ball in there, but emotion supersedes a lot in a photo like this. This is awesome. Great color. Love that pregame pinkish red light. And the, you know, everything different way of doing it from above. It's cool. It's good action too. You got the puck, you got the players, nice and clean, no distractions. Everybody focusing right in on that puck. You know, nice and clean. It could be a little bit more, but I mean, it's super clean. It's nice. I love stuff like this. Oh, this is a great fan photo, or it's his daughter. So, but like that's a great little moment. Right through the glass, perfectly. The heart is like lit up by the ice and everything, or the reflection off the ice, and that's fun. That's awesome. That's really good. It's good soccer. I always joke with a dude, Noah, that I hate soccer. So I'm not the best judge of soccer photos because I don't watch the sport or look at soccer photos, even though I get paid to shoot soccer. Doesn't mean I'm any good at it. But anyways, this is good peak action. You know, we got that potential energy. Everybody's about to hit that ball. You know, nice frame. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty good. What? Oh, the Nationals. All right. This is wild. It's, again, good. It's just good stuff. Yeah, pretty fun one. Good framing. All these have good composition. There's a good sense of like what needs to be in and out of the frame. You know, I don't feel like, oh, this is too wide, this is too tight on a lot of these so far, which is always a good thing. Nice little detail. This is fun. This is cool. It's a little bit blurry. I like the out of focus people looking in. It's a little bit fuzzy, and it's a good different way of seeing, which is why I like it in a portfolio, because it is different and shows that you're looking at things differently. However, compared to some of the other stuff that's been in here so far, it feels a little bit lower than the others. And not just because it's not NHL or whatever, it just feels like a little bit, you know, it's a little fuzzy. It's a little, you know, it's just, it just doesn't feel up to par like the other ones do. This is good. The guy's coming out. Like I said in the last portfolio, I feel like it's weird when you hop from black and white to color. That's totally subjective. I totally admit that like a lot of other people could probably not care at all. This one feels a little less strong than like the guys coming out of the tunnel the other way, but still nice. This one feels pretty good. We're, you know, got that lady and all the fans out there celebrating, which is awesome. Love to see just like fans all being stoked like that. Good little celebration shot. So that's cool. That's good peak action. I would want you to be a little bit lower, a little bit to the left or wherever to get a little bit of those bright colors out of the background. Just so she's even cleaner. If you came down like went down and left, then you could get those trees and that sky in the background instead of like all those like out of focus people and fans and rainbow colors. But still really good peak action, like right when she's looking back at the bar. I mean, really strong frame, but definitely could clean up the background a little bit more to make it extremely, like, very, very strong if you just clean up that background. Another fun moment, a little less good compared to some of your other frames, but fun. It's off the ice. This is stuff that's important to have in there. It's always good to have this kind of stuff. It feels a little less good than that. Like, for instance, the player with that with his baby daughter, whatever it was in the other frame. But still good to see you're seeing this stuff. Nice block shot. It's a little dark. Technical stuff feels like you pushed this a little bit or something. It feels a little crunchy to me compared to some of the others. But nice stop. That's a nice celebration. You got to watch those toes on the bottom. You're kind of cropping into those, and it looks like maybe there was like a barrier or something in the way. But nice hands up, clean background, nice and dark background. Yeah, that's a cool practice shot. Cool to see you looking through those. Nice layered. I call these like compositional triangles. I made that up as I said it. So I feel like those front guys being kind of off to either side, and then you have like this 3-dimensional triangle going to Ovi's face, which is really nice. And I like stuff like that. I like when I can kind of like bounce around. In a perfect world, one of these two heads would be at a different height. So then you really start bouncing around the frame, following that triangle around. But it's cool. It's a cool practice shot. Cool to see that intensity and focus, especially with players, Hall of Famer like him. That kid has an awesome mullet, which is awesome. What a bomb suit. Wow. Okay. I don't think I've ever seen a professional anything in a bomb suit, so that's different. The guy's face on the right is kind of distracting for me, so I'd probably crop him out a little bit and maybe come around the bottom a little bit too to keep it kind of 3x2. And yeah, that's great. That's really nice. I like the bat in the bottom. I like hand right on the base. You can see the ball through the glove. That's really nice. Dude, I absolutely love that sport teams have dogs for no reason at all, and I love it. I mean, I know there's like a reason. It's like they're training the dogs or something, but like, man, it's awesome. I will say photographically, this is a little bit weak. The color mixing is a little bit distracting. I mean, I feel like whatever your key light was, I want that to be a little bit stronger. And when I do things like this, I usually flip off those overhead lights if I can't match the color. So, like, for instance, these overhead lights are probably fluorescents or tungsten lights. And then your main light was either a strobe or maybe a window or something like that. I just flip them, so flip the lights off, and then you kind of get that one color in that one direction, which will just makes things feel a little cleaner, a little more polished, and kind of, we'll bring it all together a little bit. This is all right. I mean, it's good. Again, I'm not a soccer photographer. I don't know. I'm not a soccer photographer, so I'm gonna skip this one. But this is kind of a cool way of seeing. Maybe a little bit too much in the foreground, but it's cool. It's a cool way of seeing things. So this. Oh, this is photo. Okay, never mind. I thought this was just sports. I was going to say we're getting a little off topic. This is a cool little photo. Things are starting to get a little broken up in this portfolio, so we kind of got like a lot of different things happening. So maybe it would be, maybe you have enough work now to kind of split up like sports or action and sports features or something like that, so I can kind of get through and kind of know where I'm going. This is a cute little frame of a girl getting her caricature done. I don't know if it's portfolio worthy. It feels like a little bit of a kind of, like, I don't know if there's like that the top moment, if there's a mom or something, or dad interacting, or family member, something like that, then maybe that would bring it up a level. So this is fun. Um, I feel like we're just getting to a point where there's a lot of stuff, and I'm pretty deep into this portfolio, and these are great frames, but we're just getting a lot of them. And you need to start like editing out what is the best of the best. This is a nice, super clean frame, but I don't know if it's like portfolio worthy, like, or maybe it is in a different context or a more split up portfolio, then it would make more sense. But it feels a little bit kind of like the show of the sport, which again, like if you're going for a job working for a team or an arena or something, then this would be good to keep in there. But it's, a little bit maybe not super portfolio worthy compared to some of the other stuff I've seen, which is stronger. Um, that is an awesome fan photo too. Uh, and this is probably during the playoffs or something. Uh, you can even isolate them even more, like get a little bit lower if you can, and just have those blooming out of focus stuff and that face, just punch in longer lens, lower, more cleaned up. Will make this even stronger. But good, you're looking for people as stoked as this kid. This is not the beginning. Um, so we're definitely getting into the point where I think you should start splitting this portfolio up into a couple different spots. I feel like you could have an entire thing of just the capital. You could probably have a whole thing of just Ovechkin, but you could definitely have a thing of just like the Capitals. You just have so much stuff. Like, that's a great portrait of Ovechkin that none of us can get unless you work for the Capitals, which is cool and should be in your portfolio. It's a good moment. But should it belong right next to like a sports action picture? I don't know. There's no 100% right answer, but I would feel at this point you could literally have a gallery of just Capitals photos, or hockey, or whatever you want to call it. This is good to have that little detail of the bat. It's always cool. I like stuff like this that's a little different. Feels a little soft on the number, maybe, but maybe it's just the reproduction. This is a fun little feature. It's a nice celebration. This feels like an almost. I would probably take this one out. It's good action, but you're on the wrong side just by luck of the draw. Um, I'd probably take that out too. It's nice fan celebration. Again, if you're looking for a job for a team or something like that, you have so much good stuff from you know from that internship. I'm not gonna look through the video stuff now, but awesome work. Totally awesome work. All killer stuff. I think it's just like time to kind of separate it out. That'd be the biggest critique, would be just, you need to start separating out action features. I have sports action, sports features, and depending on where that ends up, you could literally end up with an entire thing of just Capitals. If you're still at the Capitals, then maybe wait till that's over, and you just have this huge, powerful body of work all about hockey and the Capitals, which would be awesome. But yeah, so that's a solid work, Jess. Thank you for sending it in. It's all great. And of course, if you guys are not, you can go and follow Jess right there on Instagram. So on to the next person. We got Mustafa. And this is Mustafa's Instagram. Mustafa's an RIT alum. Oh man, I just probably hit this mic. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna take a drink of water and read John's question here. Oh man, the R5. I don't think you're gonna see a lot of sports photographers switch, or at least not full-time sports photographers. I think, yeah, I think the R5 is awesome. I'm gonna buy one for sure. Wait, let me put me up because like watching a flat screen while I talk about a camera. The Canon R5 is what he's talking about, and this is a new mirrorless camera. It's gonna have 8K, it's gonna have 4K, it's gonna have 20 frames per second silent and like 12 frames per second mechanical shutter. It's gonna have the RF lens mount, which is awesome. The RF lenses, I don't have any, but the RF lenses are sick. They're totally cool. They're really, really. Wait, what? Oh, maybe that was before. So yeah, so maybe so the R5 is, I'm gonna buy it. It's basically a 5D replacement. It's coming out. It is super overpowered. It's just got everything you could want in a camera, really, in my opinion. As a Canon shooter, I'm really excited. And it's going to use the same memory cards as my 1DX Mark IIIs. These things, CF Express cards, which is going to be awesome. And the C500 Mark II, C300 Mark III, all use those as far as the video cameras go. So that's going to be sick. Sports photographers, just like, the problem with mirrorless cameras for me as a sports photographer when I do sports is there's always a lag. I mean, like right now, if I move my hand, I'm looking at two screens and I can see a delay. And that's what's happening in mirrorless camera. I mean, you can make that time shorter and shorter and shorter. But I just like, it's really, really hard for me to adjust to that. That's like a big problem I have. And that's fine for a lot of other work. But when you're talking about professional athletes that like just fly down the field, or, you know, it's pretty hard. Like a little millisecond is a lot to get used to. That doesn't mean that people haven't switched to like Sony's and people won't switch to R5s. I bet they will. But for me, it was just too distracting whenever I tried mirrorless for sports. For other things, they're amazing. The RF lenses are ridiculous. They're so sharp. They're making like lenses that don't exist in other mounts, which is really, really exciting and awesome. And that's really, really cool. But I don't think I'll switch for shooting sports. It'll probably be my chest or like belly camera with like a wide angle, because I usually run one of those, and I run like a big camera, and then a smaller lens, whatever configuration, when I shoot sports. But yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, we won't know till it gets here. And I'll certainly, like I said, I plan to get one and we'll see what it does. But yeah, who knows? I don't think you'll see a lot of the top tier people switch unless they're getting paid to switch, which is basically most of the people who have switched I know of. Most people I know that have bought Sonys have gotten 20 to 40% off, and that's why they went and bought them, because they needed new cameras anyways, and they said, all right, well, I'm going to save so much money that why not get them? That's not everybody, but it's a lot of people. So back to reviewing portfolios. So now we have Mustafa. Mustafa lives in Buffalo area right now, but he's done a lot of cool stuff. He was in Pakistan for a while. If Mustafa's watching, he can happily, yeah, anyways. He can chime in. Where Mustafa? There we go. All right. So I'm going to start singles. One last question. So there we go. So Andrew's chiming in. They got A9s. Yeah, see, so everybody's got different answers. And I know like some places switch because of the silent mode on the A9s or R5, stuff like that. AF tracking is really cool. The 1DX Mark III has a lot of face tracking stuff, which is awesome. And I'm like a big, big fan of that. But totally, there's stuff on that camera, especially if you're shooting a sport that, you know, you can see the face and stuff like that, that are going to make a big difference. Face tracking, eye tracking on these things are totally awesome. But yeah. And one last off-topic question. As far as editing a photo goes, MPBA has like a really great set of ethics that most people kind of follow. But yeah, I mean, less is better if you're going to work for news clients or sports clients. Like, you can't be overtoning these photographs. And that's just like the rules. Like we can't edit these things like crazy. Yeah, I mean, I think as far as Instagram versus portfolio versus like what you're doing for a client, which is what John's asking right now, I think you end up like, I want to show work that is pretty similar to what I would send to the client, or exactly the same. That's kind of my goal. My website, it's almost exactly the same. Sometimes Instagram, I'll just pump it a little bit just because you're looking at a tiny device, and you know, sometimes the contrast, it reads differently, and it is kind of, everybody kind of gets it a little bit, but you're definitely not adding things, you're not taking things away. and you're certainly not like changing colors or hues over and stuff like that. You kind of got to keep it. You're basically trying to make it look like real life is the goal, and a lot of people go too far. But if you're working for news clients, they all know when things are overbaked or over edited, so to speak. They pick up on it pretty quick. So Mustafa, we have some singles. Can I do this with my mouse keyboard? Oh no, there we go. Sorry, I'm like learning the navigation on everybody's site as I go. So as I said, Mustafa is based in Western New York now, like the Buffalo area, but he spent some time overseas for several months. So if you're not into photojournalism, singles generally refers to like news photos that are just kind of like a go and you grab. So it's like, hey, this news is happening or this event is happening, stuff like that. That's kind of how we treat the term singles, so to speak. So these are kind of like general news photos is what you're going to see. So I'm just flipping through these real quick. So these all have like a nice tonality to them, which I really like. You kind of have a vibe that you're going for and like a look, which is good because people that are hiring you are going to like see that and they kind of get that you have a look. And piggybacking off the toning, as you tone and as you go, one photo is super high contrast, and your next photo is super low contrast or whatever. It can be jarring. So that would be another reason to change the way you tone for a portfolio. Anyways, Mustafa's work kind of has a similar vibe across all of it, kind of a little bit more neutral, a little more muted, which is fine. It's a totally subjective choice, and I feel like it works. I love stuff like this. I mean, I love the lights. I love the ring right around the person. Little compositional stuff like that is really great. I just like the feel of a lot of these. I would say this one and the next one, they feel more like portraits, which they are. So I don't know. There's something really wrong with that, but I might toss these over in the portrait side. Maybe they're not portraits. I don't know. But I really like this one a lot. I love how I'm kind of lost in it. I love how we got this light pushing in from the back. It's kind of like that cinematic side lighting. And I like that vibe. I like that look quite a bit. This one's really nice too. It's just clearly a portrait, and I feel like if I was looking for singles, I might throw this over in a portrait gallery. Same with this one. This one feels a little bit weak compared to your other work, even as a portrait. I think I'd probably toss this one out. These last two too. This definitely feels like a portrait, and this one feels a little bit kind of like that. What is it, Steve Curry or Steve McCurry or whatever, the National Geographic thing. It doesn't have that spark in the eye. It doesn't have that direction. Like the other ones are just more elevated, like the guy with the camels and stuff like that. So I'd probably hop this one out too. There's just so much rain, and this one's kind of wild. I like this. I like all the tension. I like all the lines. I'm not a huge fan of like super wide angles. So that's a little distracting to me, but a lot of news clients and people don't care. So this again feels on the edge of a portrait, but I like the lines. I like everything. I'd probably go a little bit lower or higher so we don't have that like orange and tan, this line here going right through the face like that. Just going up or down one way or the other will help. This is a great little news picture. Buffalo Bills, always. I like this one a lot too. And like I said, I already talked about this one. So this is a good example of something that is cool to have on your site. So these are just tear sheets. I would probably label it tear sheets. I kind of personally advocate for not being too artsy with the way you name things. You want someone to just be able to hop on your website and find stuff. Not that press is really, that's not really super whatever. Artsy fartsy or whatever, but I would just label as tear sheets or I don't know, whatever people call them, but I would call it tear sheets. But anyways, good example of something to have. It's going to give people confidence that you've worked for other clients, kind of just thing to show. especially when you're starting out. But you always don't want to just put them on there to put them on there. Like if it's not a good story or something, then maybe you don't just drop it in just to name drop. So man, these are a lot of stories. All right, I'm gonna go to. I'm trying to think of the one you had posted the other day that I saw. I'm gonna pick this one. So this is from the New York Times. And I said all this stuff has a nice vibe to it. I like that a lot. I like the light coming in from the background. I like how the light's kind of pushing across a lot of these frames. But then we get in these office spaces and it's like light sucks. But good way to be like working in and out, kind of coming closer to people, looking for those details, pushing back. That's really cool. That's really nice. Yeah, good little variety, good quick little story, I'm sure. But yeah, not bad at all. Frames like this, and sorry, I'm trying to like keep up with the website. This frame might be important to the story, but I don't know. Like it's kind of focused on this baby on the right more than it is over here. And we kind of got this table. Just composition doesn't feel like there's a lot of purpose to it. And yeah, just kind of feels a little off to me. Pick another one of these. I'm just gonna grab the first one. Oh, I remember this. This is little news story of a train fire. I really like this. Good balance of being able to see everything inside with controlling that light outside. I like this. I mean, that's a nice clean frame, business class. Yeah, I mean, this is good, solid little news coverage, little news story. And yeah, just good little news hit, little like news project. Trying to do. Oh, this is video. So skip that. Is this more video? This is all video. I would, like label that videos because I would never know. I looked for photo stories. This is a little environmental portraits. These are all solid. I feel like it's weird to see the same person right back to Noah. I am proud of you. I wish I slept until noon. I feel like it's kind of sometimes weird to have like the same person back to back, and they're similar composition, similar scale. Again, that's subjective. I wouldn't take that as gospel. I really like this one a lot. It's bugging me that this little side top left of the chandelier is a little bit cropped. But I like all the light. I like how it's controlled. There's a lot of subtlety to the light in this. Her face is a little bit off, which is kind of I struggle with. Like you get all these other things right, and then you end up like just missing like the little subtle thing right in the middle of everything. But anyways, still great little photo. This one's good too. I like the practical, as we'd call it in the video world, this little light bulb, and these ones over here coming in and being able to see them balanced nicely with the artificial light that was added. Probably a boomed in beauty dish or something like that. This one's a little different. Yeah, at first I would say to like take this out, but it's I don't know. I kind of like it. I don't know why. I don't really have a good answer. This one feels a little off. Color on the lighting, there's like a gel or something on the light. This is like got a strobe happening, and I don't know if it really works. It's like kind of one of those things where it's like you either got to go like really strong with the gel or not use it at all. And I don't know. When you're in between, it kind of feels like, is this a street lamp? Is this supposed to be gelled? I don't really know. So I kind of like struggle with those ones that fall in between. This one's all right too. This feels like a little bit of an almost too. It feels like a little bit less purpose compared to like that lady in the I don't know what that was, like a ski lodge or something. But I like this. I feel like the main light, instead of coming right from above, should maybe come over from where that desk lamp is, so we kind of get that pop in the eye maybe. But I like all the control of subtlety and all control of all these tones in these photos. This is nice. Drag queen, is that the term, right? Yeah, drag queen. I assume backstage. But yeah, I like this. I like the direction of the light. I, again, like that we control those practicals, the lamp in the background. Um, you know, uh, it feels like a movie in a way, like, feels theatrical, which is good because they're about to go do a performance. So it feels fitting. This feels very advertising-y. Ad. That's not a word. This feels like an advertising photo, but it's nice. Good color. This is downtown Buffalo, and just kind of good, cool vibe. Um, I don't know about this one. Again, I'm not like a big fan of the wide angles. I like I like the tone. I like the colors. I like the background. This top left corner is kind of distracting, where the window's peeking in. I like what he's doing. It feels like a little dated with the wide angle. Feels like it was shot in the 90s. Um, this one's all right. I mean, I'm guilty that I know this is from the college, but it feels like a college photo. This is a good practice, but like I said in the earlier portfolio, that maybe this is like an underdeveloped idea. I would love to see something out of this back window of the car, even if it's just a pop of a light into a tree or a pop into a building or just something, so it doesn't look like such a black hole. And just anything, even if it's just like a little bit of red on the right corner, and something, I don't know, anything to just kind of give some depth and sense to let me like see out into the rest of the world. Again, really nicely controlled tones, nice subtlety to all this stuff. This person feels like they are maybe not getting a light as much as the other people, but again, nice clean frame. I like this. Yeah, like this feels really good. Feels fitting to the space. Again, I like that light coming in from the side. I like the purple. It's probably a practical in this or something on the other side of the face, but cool. Cool. I'm gonna skip these projects because I know they're dated, so I don't want to judge you off things that I know are dated, which might be. I'm not trying to be rude. I like the site. I like that everything is laid out like this. I know last week and in general, I kind of don't like these splashes. I personally would just dive in a little better to your naming conventions. I think when I'm seeing recent work and then I'm seeing stories and that's video, but just labeling those things more clearly, people are going to get there even quicker, so, and we are going to hop to the next one. Mustafa can be found here on Instagram. We're going to hop to the next person. Sorry, I have a few queued up, but I don't have everybody queued up. So the next person up, if I typed it in right, is George Corian. Yeah, I got me in the corner already. Okay. So as I said, this whole projection thing is a little bit brutal on people's websites for stretching things out. But I will say that if you're going to have navigation, I'd put it up in the top, So, okay, it is here. So again, this will be like a little bit ranty or maybe pet peevey or something like that. But if we can, like, I wouldn't consider this stuff projects. They're portfolios, but they're not really projects. Some of these might be, I guess, but like portraits wouldn't be. I break portraits out always. People want you to shoot portraits all the time. So I always like break them out and put them wherever. Oh no, I can't make them big. Okay, so we gotta do it this way. Number one, these aren't really portraits. These are pictures of people, which can be a portrait, but is most of these don't really feel like portraits. Um, so I think you need to work on this more. And I think short of a few of them, um, these aren't what I would call portraits. So I just nuke that out of your portfolio for right now, and come back to it when you have a more developed work. You don't have to show every single checkbox um, just for the sake of showing it, because I think people will be able to see through if something's like underdeveloped, or you don't you're like shouldn't be sharing that work. Like I do work that I am okay at, but I'm not very good at, and I just won't put it on my site. When those jobs come along, I do them. But until I'm good enough at them to share, and that's been over time. I mean, there was probably a time where I didn't have any sports on my website, and now I shoot sports all the time. So these are kind of different views of a bull, running the bulls, stuff like that. I'd label it as such. This isn't really a view of Spain. This is a view of like one event inside of Spain. We got a couple other photos, but this is still related to the same event. So it feels a little bit more like a travel photo thing. Some of the stuff that's cool in here would be like this one over here, stuff like this where it's just so isolated, where it's just bull in person. So like this one is like kind of like, I don't know, kind of got a lot of stuff going on. While when you get into stuff like, these two in the middle here, I'll try to bring them up a little bit, it's not blocking them. Then we just kind of like break it down to these two elements of like bull and human, and which is what it's all about. This one on the right, the light is kind of crap. This one on the left, the light's kind of good. We kind of got this directional light, which is always going to help out a photo. I like that you're shooting down on top of things like this. If you're going to do that though, like, you really want to square it up. So like this one is a little more square. I kind of like the motion blur because we kind of get a sense of like the speed and all this stuff. But like I said last week, you kind of want to have something sharp or something, panning with something or being rock steady still. So the bull just rips through a crowd and you just have this blurry bull and like everybody else is still. Like those are things that are going to help photos like this. He's got too many photos in here. There's a lot of similarity, a lot of bull and person fighting, whatever. And you just got to cut this down and have more focus. This feels like a trip that then ends up in your portfolio. But I mean, there's a way to do it and share it and like try to get work out of it. But it just feels a little heavy handed. There's like just too many. There's probably 25, 30 photos, and you can probably have it be like 12. So a little festival. This is like event coverage. If you're going to do this stuff, which there's tons of money in doing stuff like this, just bring a flash. Just pop a flash into the ceiling, get a nice bounce situation. There's a ton of different tools. I don't think I have anything close. But there's like lots of stuff you can like just basically put your flash and then have like a big your flash on top of the camera, and then you have like this big white bounce that goes on top of it. That's what most people use for stuff like this. If it's rich people asking for the picture to be taken, or you're getting paid to take their picture, like you just want their faces to be brighter and lighter. But there's plenty of money in this kind of stuff for sure. Some athletics going. So got football, soccer, volleyball. So number one thing is get lower. On all of these, you're kind of at eye level or above eye level, and you want to get lower. If you're below people, they're going to look more heroic. They're going to look, they're just gonna like, I don't know what it is, but like if people are running with the ball and they're going to be looking down, they're looking at the goal line, they're looking at the first down marker. If you're a hockey player, you're looking at the hockey puck, whatever. You just want to be below those people's eye lines and looking up into the eye line, and it just makes people look more heroic and more like bigger. Even like the soccer picture on the right here, this is like it is. This is. Oh, can I actually click in on these? Oh man, see, totally would have missed this. But you're below this guy's eyes, and immediately it's like a stronger picture than a lot of the other ones. So football is my bread and butter, so I'm going to do this one. There's a lot of photos here, so hopefully I can. How do you guys see this? That looks about there. All right. Sorry, everyone. Always learning how these websites look. This will be out. This is just guys warming up. This needs to be tighter. So this is like just way too much. You want to be in like, in this kind of range. And then you're going to have, you kind of get to the action a little faster. That's just a longer lens. I mean, you can crop things, but football, you really want to be with like a 400 2.8 or 400 f4, something like that. 2.8 is going to be better because it's going to knock things out. But a 200 to 400, something like that. But you really want to be shooting football in the 400 plus range as far as your lens goes, or equivalent. Just because, I mean, that's where the action is. The action is just further away. You got some nice shots of the team and the team doing stuff on the sideline. The action stuff's kind of weak, and action's super hard to get. But I mean, it's more rewarding when you do. Another one, I would be kind of cropping in somewhere like this, on something like that. Get there faster. Like that's, sports is all about getting, bright and tight or whatever you want to say. But you definitely want to get to the action faster. But some of these ones with the players and stuff are nice, but that's only part of the story. And even if you're working for a team, you gotta get to that action shots. And it's just hard. It just takes a lot of time, a lot of practice. What I would say is if you're working on a sports portfolio, a big thing people do when they're starting out is they're gonna I gotta get to the next spot. I gotta get to the next spot. I gotta get to the next spot. And I'm gonna go in the corner and then I get in front of this. And it's like, unless you're getting paid to shoot that sport, forget it. Just like pick a spot and just stay there and just stay in that spot for the remainder of the game. I mean, just that's all there is to it. I mean, just like pick a corner and be like, all right, today I'm going to shoot this whole entire game from right here. I mean, don't pick a spot that is terrible, but like, you know what I mean? Like if you're on a football, like pick a corner and just be like, I'm going to shoot the entire game from this corner. I'm going to learn everything I can about shooting from this one spot. And then like build and do all the things beyond that. So like you can get really, really good at that one spot. And then you move to the next spot or whatever it is. Like, I think that's kind of a good approach. Is like move a lot less. I think just too many people are just like, I'm going to go over here now. I'm going to go over here now. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. And it's like, you're not good at any of those one things when you're learning. So it's like, just get good at the one spot or get good at the one lens or get good with the one sport or whatever. Like just then work your way into the others. So if that makes any sense at all. So we got NBA, sure. So it's just a gallery. I'm gonna skip to New York. So this website navigation is just like I'm clicking through so many things, and it's not super clear like where I'm going or where I'm just gonna click. It's fine, but I would just, you want that to be more. Sorry, you guys didn't see the screen. You just want this stuff to be a little bit, clearer to get in and out of these things. If you're going for the photojournalism thing, which I don't know if you are, I'm sorry, I didn't fully read everybody's emails. You just like, this is not photojournalism, which you might not be doing at all, but it's kind of comes off that way. This is just like kind of like feature photos and like stuff like this is just so far away. And like, there's no moment, there's no anything. It's just like people in parks. And yeah, so, this doesn't tell a story. This doesn't really do much for me in that front. This is closer, like these people hanging out of the back of the cars. That's kind of the direction you want to be going if you're doing like the photojournalism thing. But you want to get around the front of them, show the fishing pole, show that stuff, show the sunset. Maybe they talk to each other and there's like a moment of that interaction where they're, having a laugh and doing all that stuff. So yeah. Let's check out the Instagram. So this is George's Instagram where you can find him. So yeah, so kind of ripped through a bunch of stuff here. But yeah, so pull up the next one. Does anybody have any questions or anything to talk about between when I'm like pulling up these emails? I got like so many emails to go through. Did I miss someone? Oh my gosh, sorry. I'm like typing, and I told myself I was going to put all of these in to a website and like have everything ready to go, and I'm an idiot and I didn't, because it just takes time and there's only so many things you can do. So now we are on to Kate Luffin. A little about University of Tennessee. I live in Tennessee. So journalism, electronic media degree. Cool. Tennessee athletics. So cool. So should see some cool stuff. All right. Can I click on? Great. Awesome. Oh, I can even make this full screen. Here, upgrade. Sorry. Last time I did this, I talked for like 2.5 hours. I didn't take a single drink of water, which is really dumb. But so today I brought water and I've drank none of it, and we're an hour and 12 minutes in. All right. So this is nice, clean. I love that Tennessee tea back there. Nice, clean action, clean background. I love that horizon line. This isn't like cutting anybody off, or I love all they're in the green, tees in the black. Nice graphic action, and the action's good. I mean, they're going for the ball. They're both jumping for it and all that stuff, which is cool. That's nice. Nice hit. I like the water droplets and all that stuff. The bottom of the frame could probably come up just a little bit. Like down here feels a little, maybe come up. Maybe get lower next time. One of the two. But yeah, I like the rain. I like the helmets. Nice solid tackle shot. So that's good. I like that. I like how tight it is. Nice razor sharp in on those eyes. Those hands going in for the ball, framing up the face. Again, the crop is a little bit. It's like an 8-10 crop, maybe not. I don't know. I'm looking at full screen, so now we're in a different planet of ratios here. But it feels like, again, the bottom's a little bit extra. Maybe come up a little bit or just crop it a little bit tighter. But it's really tight. It's got great dark background. I like it. It's a good basketball shot. Nice celebration. Everybody's emotions match. You're in there. You're tight to them. So nice, good viewing down. I feel like you could almost maybe crop this person on the right. I mean, I like her face, so she's matching their emotions, so it's not super distracting. But just maybe we get to the left side a little bit faster if we kind of come in kind of above where it says Harris and maybe over to the rim or something. I like what you're trying here. This is kind of cool. It's neat to see things be a little bit different and focus on the crowd. I feel like there might be a more peak moment or something like that. I go right into this redheaded guy in the middle, waving the flag. I feel like the crowd is kind of like not at 100% insanity, which might make this photo a little bit stronger. But I like that you're doing something different and kind of framing it up and layering those players in the foreground. That's a nice senior photo. So senior days is like a lot of times they'll like bring out people and the families are there, they get roses and stuff like that or flowers and kind of celebrate their last, usually I think it's always their last home game. But anyways, cool. Nice emotion. Again, you're shooting nice and tight, everything's cropped well, which is awesome. Nice clean backgrounds. It's great. That's great. Nice super clean background. I assume it says Tennessee. The courts are always like the wrong way. Like Syracuse is like this, where it's like the S or whatever is on the middle of the court, faces like 20 people, and then the other like 3/4 of the stadium, it's backwards. But anyways, I love this. This is a cool way of shooting vertical basketball. Nice clean background, no distracting things, no distracting people, hands, limbs. Nice. I mean, you don't always have to go lower. You can always go up high too. But if you do it, you got to shoot it tight. So this is nice. That's awesome. That's a great overhead. Nice face, coming into the basket, right at that peak moment with the SEC framed up. This is rad. I always hope that there's no altering happening here to make this look so square and so nice. I imagine there isn't, but I always like to say that because there's somebody out there who's like, oh yeah, I'll just put it into Photoshop and transform and warp that thing out so it's straight. This is rad. This is a great athletic portrait. I feel like there might be losing a little bit here. I think you guys are you guys back? Maybe. All right. So this is a great portrait, whatever you want to call it. Lighting's awesome. I like that you still do have that key light kind of coming from above. So this is 2 lights on the side, but there's still a light hitting the front. So what that does is, like, you can see it on her forehead right here. And then in the cleats and the jersey, like the torso is all lit up, but the forehead, otherwise you get this like black hole effect of like, eyes and nose and everything is like super dark, and then you have like super bright sides of the head. So good on that. I personally would want a background. There's like a lot of reasons you'd shoot somebody on like totally isolated like black background. But I kind of gotten into a stage where I kind of like to have a little bit back there. It might be a pop on a piece of seamless. It might be some lockers. It might be a wall. I don't know what it could be. I'd like to see that version. But this is super clean, super nice, like totally awesome. Nothing wrong with it at all. And I'm sure based on this kind of right justified crop that this was probably for some kind of like magazine layout or some kind of layout. We have more, maybe. Whoops. Oh, there it goes. Sweet. Nice little artistic detail. A little almosty, kind of maybe not super strong compared to some of the other stuff, but good seeing, good looking, always looking for different stuff. I love that light. That is awesome. That's really nice. I'm sure this is warm-ups because there's lots of orange jerseys in the background, but just love that light coming across. Love that the way this is, like, we kind of have this person in the front, and we have this smaller and medium-sized head shape, so we kind of bounce around a little bit, but they're like nice and subdued. They're way in the background. It's a great warm-up shot. This is great little entry photo. I like, you can almost read blessed on that thing, but that's pretty neat. That's really cool. This feels like maybe like a film noir or something. But it's cool little bench shot. I'm sure it's during warm-ups or announcements, I would assume, based on the lighting, but you never know. Could be something else. But it looks nice. Yeah, I don't know. Something about it, it doesn't feel as strong as some of the others. Like, these feel stronger, but that's really nice. It's a good silhouette. I like the subtle. We still get a little bit of this Tennessee on the jersey and stuff like that. I love how clean and organized all these frames are. Like, getting to what's important, very easily, but still having some action going on. Just clean for the sake of clean and then nothing happening is, not awesome. This is a little less action than the other one, so we always want more of that action. But that's a nice portrait, and see that color in the background brings it up so much more. Also, tennis people are really weird, I've learned today. Everybody's freaking out when they're playing tennis. But that's awesome. Welcoming when they come out in the stadium. That's pretty cool. Good place to be. Love the emotion. Love the face. I love that this dude's foot is not cropped. The police are always kind of in the way, but yeah, I feel like you could even be a little bit lower maybe and just get his head right above the top of that stadium, but pretty small complaint at this point. Nice run with the ball. Don't know if it's like a portfolio photo compared to like your tackles and stuff, but it's a nice clean photo. So I mean, this is totally something that you see on AP or Getty or whoever. Nice clean flame. That's a nice coach shot. That's a cool way of seeing it. Just breaking down that color to be absolutely nothing. I like stuff like this a lot. Another great coach shot. This is great interaction, focus. We got the point, but everybody's got intensity. That's the big thing with stuff like this. If it's just two people kind of looking at each other dead-eyed, it's not going to be as good as like this is right now, where it's just like we got all that intensity and everything. That's a nice soccer photo. I would probably crop out these people on the right. So I'd probably do something like this maybe, which will bring us up to here. Well, make this kind of shade that out. Maybe something like that. And you could even come in vertically and do something like that too. But I think those people on the right probably aren't too needed. But yeah, so you can play with that one a little bit. Don't save. That's nice. Celebration. Nice football. This feels like there's not a moment there. Like how clean it is. It's a good, solid, clean frame. But I always want to see, more intensity, more focus. Maybe something's reflected in those goggles. Something to bring it up a level. I get where you're going from here, and this feels like the same way as the last one, where it's like it's good, but it doesn't feel like it's on the level of some of the other work that is much stronger. This is a cool little overall. Oh man, it looks like a spaceship's coming out of the ceiling on this thing, which is kind of wild. But cool little overall. Man, I want to shoot basketball in a place that has this kind of lighting. Like, come on, like, geez, I always shoot in places that look like high school gymnasiums. It feels like, or their football fields they put a basketball court down on. That's a nice piece at peak action. I like that everybody's feet are clean. You got the hoop, you got everything. Yeah, that's pretty good little action shot there. Color's a little bit maybe green. Just want to make sure that's perfect, like it is in all your other photos. I don't know if this is a portrait or during a game, but that is awesome. That is super clean. Great direction to the light. Again, we got this orange vibe going, which is great because that's the team color. But yeah, that feels super good. That's intensity right there. That's awesome. That's super fun. Yeah, there's funny like emotions and stuff like this, like carry like photos like this. Like it's just somebody dribbling the ball at the court, but she's very intense at that moment, and that's wild. Same thing here, different emotion, not kind of as funny, but this emotion carries these things, and this light is just great. You're really focusing in on this sunlight, the sunset, and that is something that people should be working on in their portfolio. Like you might have like portfolios where you put the best of the best, and you want the photos where you shot at 4:30 p.m. in November when the sun came right across the field. Like those are the times when you want to do those sort of things. And I think sometimes people in the portfolio, it's like, oh, I got to check this box. I got to check this box. You got to check this box. No, the only box you have to check is just putting the best stuff possible online and available for people to look at. That's all there is to it. So, man, I lost my monitor because I didn't put a second battery in. That'll do it. Awesome. So that is it for that portfolio. There's more portfolios, right? Oh no, maybe that's it. I'm really sorry if I missed it. Okay, no, that's it. Travels. Hi, this is fun travel stuff. I'm gonna skip that. So this is Kate's Instagram. I am going to be giving her a follow. I'll leave it up so everybody can see it for a few more minutes. So that's Kate. Kate, this is awesome. You're really doing what I think people should be doing with a portfolio, and that is like kind of having a clear purpose. Super clean frames. You're really focusing on what there's that light, there's that color. I mean, you lucked out the team's orange and sunset's orange. That helps out. But there's just like kind of all the check boxes are hit. There's a couple frames in there I might take out, but overall, super clean, super nice work, and yeah, just a lot of fun. So what do we got? Still Effects Studios, football lot. So I think something got cut off here, but so football, I like to shoot just inside of the end line. So that's kind of the like if you're looking at the field and this is like the corner of the field and you got the bench and stuff up here, I like to go like right inside of that, like maybe a yard, just like a yard inside of that mark, and then just shoot up that sideline. Like I really like doing that stuff. That's kind of like my go-to spot. And like kind of like get those nice clean frames up the sideline, across the middle, and all of that stuff, which is kind of my goal. I think that's what you asked. I'm sorry if that's not what you asked. Caitlin, yeah, thanks for sharing it. That stuff was great. That was awesome. You're gonna have no problem getting a job soon. Hopefully not in Nashville, because that's where I live. But no, awesome work. I love how everything had a focus. Everything had that color and the tonality. All that stuff was really great. It was really fun to look at. But again, like, nice and clean, nice and focused. And that's like what you want in a portfolio. You know what I mean? Like you want your portfolio to say, like, I want to do this for you, whoever's looking at that portfolio. So if that's shoot still lifes of donuts, then put in still lifes of donuts. If that's shoot sports, then put in sports. If that's weddings, then put in weddings. And if you want to do more than one thing and those clients aren't going to overlap, then make 2 sites. I mean, that's pretty simple. Come up with some goofy name for your weddings and make a wedding website, and then have your other stuff on some other site over here. But that's the goal. So the goal is to just be able, people will come to your site, they look at it, and everything is just super focused, and everyone says, oh yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's the thing that person does. So without further ado, blah blah blah. Trent, I was looking for like that little Instagram logo. Everybody's got Instagram logos. But Trent, Illinois, goes to Whittingburg in Springfield, Ohio, which I have no idea what that is. But getting a thing in communications. Cool. So you work for the school. So I'm gonna hop into the singles, and yep. All right, we're gonna scroll. Apologies for the water drink. I don't know what that sounds like with this lav mic. It might be brutal. Mustafa, thank you for submitting as well, man. Really appreciate everybody sending their work. It's not fun to get critiques, let alone on the internet with up to like 12 people watching. This live stream is very active. People watch it after the fact, so it gets up to like 15 people. So anyways, so we got Trent. Trent is a student, so you're going to see like work for communications department. And if you don't do that, or if you don't know what that is, a lot of times schools will have like a communications department, which is kind of like the advertising wing, or like they're going to work on like school magazines, or maybe it's internal publications, stuff like that. Again, nice to have these captions. This is always good. We want to see these. If you're in college and you're looking to get an internship or a job at a paper, they're going to need you to write captions, and that's going to help to have those. Not mandatory, but sometimes I hear editors really like that. Nice. I really like the light in this basketball picture. It's kind of nice how it comes in. It might be a strobe even, or it might be the stadium lighting or something like that, but I like it. This football photo, I think you need to get closer or in front of them. It's good. It could be better. So that's all. So you know what I mean? Like, just maybe right in, that coach is huge. So we got this big coach up in this corner of the frame, and then we got all these players off to the right. Like, that could be possible. Nice little communications photo of kids coming in. Can I like make these smaller so you guys can see the whole frame? There's like a nice little moment, but it's like probably an announcement. Yeah, it's an announcement. So it kind of has this like sensitive, touchy-feely, like consoling vibe to it. And I think like this is kind of like a let's go. So maybe it doesn't fit. I like that you're coming from the back and stuff like that. I think maybe like just widening out, and when they come up and they shoot those hands into the air, or whatever they do, or they throw their water or the chalk or whatever, then you kind of get like the stadium or the lights, and you kind of look up and make them look like heroes. And that might be a little bit stronger moment in there. So what they protests. So that was the gist of it. I think I'd maybe back up on this. From a technical standpoint, this is feeling like a little bit off. There's a lot of noise, which is, I'm fine with that. But it feels a little green or something. I like that I'm having a hard time reading. I mean, it's just names. But anyways, I think maybe back up. Maybe, I'm sure there's more than one person. If it is the only one person, maybe that's the photo too. That's just like this one person laying in this room or this hallway or whatever. It says a center, so maybe that's just the name of the building. But maybe show like the scale of the protests, or maybe whatever. Um, I don't get to I don't get the correlation immediately just by looking at this photo, and that could be me not knowing enough about what is going on. Um, but I think like this photo by itself does not tell the story, and that's kind of what you want a single to do. So that'd be my kind of critique for that one. But like I said, if there's 10 or 20 or 40 people, then showing all of them might drive it home a little more. Or if it's just as one person in a room like that, I mean, that's like a thing too. Like square it up and like back up a bit. Beautiful light in that. That's awesome. It's kind of like these campus features that communications photographers get stuck into doing. Nice little reaction here. Football losing. Yeah, the other team scored a touchdown. I like this rainy running picture. I feel like you could be lower, which if you've been listening to this live stream is kind of a thing I say a lot. But I feel like you could be lower or higher, but one or the other to kind of get their head out of this like middle ground of like truck backgrounds or whatever this is. So it's just a little bit messy because of that. So if you were lower, then maybe get more of this, and maybe these raindrops kind of fill in this gray sky, or something. But nice. I like that the toes aren't cropped. I could probably have a little more space, but pretty good. Nice little basketball photo from a remote. Good face, nice shooting. Man, this rim is beat. There's no orange paint on that thing at all. That's a little fun little portrait or moment with the mascot. Like I said, it's like when you get these communications things, everything's like kind of a little bit I don't know. It's not. It's like news-esque. It's like news-ish. So it's like it doesn't have the intensity or the emotion a lot of times because it's like college life. But it's a good frame. I like the color. I like the light. I like that the tones out there are controlled and everything, and it's a nice clean frame. Nice soccer picture here. Again, you could be a little bit lower, but if you guys are new to this, I can make. Oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. When you're lower, like we're looking up into those eyes. Everything's a little bit cleaner. The head is his head is on a clean background rather than in the midst of players or benches or whatever. Nice little celebration kind of photo here. Just be around, and that middle face is a little bit off compared to the other ones, so it's kind of an almost. This is a cool little way of seeing this. I like the tones. I like the clouds. And again, this is just like what happens when you start shifting your angle from low to high or whatever. It just starts cleaning things up and changing things around. It's a fun little moment. I think if you had a face, it could be even stronger and even better. So, and there you go. Same idea here. Very different way of shooting volleyball than I've seen in other portfolios we've looked at. It's also a good way to hide the fact that no one is here based on those stands I can see. It's a little bit messy though. There's a lot of like underexpose it a lot more or overexpose it, like something different here. But keep working stuff like this. This is good to see you trying something different and new. We're back to the beginning. Man, I'm sorry I looked at this whole thing like on this small view, I think. Photo. So get a little more sense of this one photo I kind of talked about a little bit earlier. So this is just kind of a little news event. All of these kind of don't have like all these photos could just have a little bit stronger, like more of your eye, more directing like what you want us to see. Like we got a lot of like this happens, then this happens. Like this is getting there, like they're seeing that they're writing names or they're writing somebody's name on their arms, and then they got the roses. This needs to be more in focus for us to get like what's going on. So like we see this contrast. So you got to stop down or use a less telephoto lens or both. And then we get into some technical issues, like this is pretty dark, and it's, this is, your camera's probably adjusting for this and making it really dark, but you got to make it brighter. And then here you got a flash popped, but this is just like, a lot of these are just like photos of things, rather than, like there's less purpose or less direction to a lot of these things. And I think this one, now seeing them all, definitely has the most of like your eye and your way of looking at these things. But you want to do that on everything, so less like this all happened, and more like this is what's important about this event, and this is why you should look at this photo, and this is what like tells the story. And there's not like a good quick tip to do that, but that's kind of like what I think when I'm at something like that, which might be uh maybe a somewhat mundane event in like an overhead lit place, is that let's just let's just get more focus, more energy in this, in this one direction, kind of like, I want to make, this is the photo I want to make, and kind of get that direction going. um so this is very much in the same vein. This is very like college, um college PR stuff. I like that you're backing up out of the where people are and kind of getting a more sense of space. This is this is clean little communications work. Stuff like this is kind of necessary. Again, you make money doing stuff like this. Like I was saying in the previous portfolio, it's like you can make great money doing PR stuff like this, and you can do them in between news jobs. I like this one the most. I think I like that we kind of get the students going through there. And we get the sense of place. I always try to like get this stuff squared up, so like you're a little bit closer to this left side than you are this right side. And I think when you're this close to the middle, like just go all the way to the middle and make it like super Wes Anderson squared up, or go way to the side and get those nice converging lines, one or the other. But yeah, like I said, maybe this stuff is the most exciting, but you can make a bunch of money at it, and that's always good. So this is more communication stuff. I'm gonna look at some of the sports stuff because I'm sure this is probably more what you care about my opinion on. Um, so I like these. So the big issue with these, like these shadows in the back, pull them off of that background. And I know like sometimes you don't have room and sometimes you got to make more space, but you want to like pull people off the background and like get rid of those shadows, and really make that nice space, so that they separate, but also you don't get those shadows. And you can light the background, light the people in the front, and get that nice separation. That's a cool little sports photo, kind of hidden in here. Um, that's cool. That's a cool one. That's a nice little moment. A lot of college football teams don't sit around like this. Um, so here, like earlier, we were talking about negative fill and positive fill, and I think like a thing you'll see a lot of is that like there's too much light happening here. Like there's like a light hitting the backside of her arm, which is probably the sun. Um, and then you have like a light, it's like super front lit, and it looks like there's two lights. So you can see right here, we have a reflection of a light. So there's one light off to the right, our right, and then there's obviously a photo light off to the left. And what you really want to do is this light on the right probably doesn't need to be there. It can probably go around the back and light up this hair or this like arm and kind of add on to that. And this light on the left can probably be rotated out a little bit. Because right now we have this like really flat lighting that's like making the whole face look really flat, and you kind of want to just give it a little more shape. So this is like a really fancy on-camera flash look, or that's kind of the vibe it has, which it isn't. It's much more clean. It's again, as I said before, it's awesome that you're using lights. It's awesome that you're learning these things in college, but just I would try to like push that light in from one side or the other, and I personally try to match whatever the sun's doing. So you kind of like, if the trees are getting hit from the left, then I would key from the left. It's just going to be a little bit nicer, kind of more natural looking portrait. Here's kind of the same thing. We kind of got that double shadow. And so what I'm talking about is like right under the chin, like we have like a shadow from this side. Then we have this nice hard fill on here. It's just kind of like, it looks like a communications photograph. Again, that is what it is, but you know, you can just elevate it a little bit more. This is another great example of what I was talking about, like just square it up, like, you know, shoot straight across. So everything is like nice and square and parallel and or perpendicular, or whatever. Like you're shooting perpendicular, but everything gets nice and squared up and graphic. And then you can kind of back up, and then we got this like nice big shape of the building, and then we got like this little, you know, this dude in the foreground, and like nice, and you find a nice negative space to put him in. Let's That's cool. Probably a little late, or a little late on it if it was a header by him, but nice clean frame, nice background. You know, you get lower, you seem to be standing because the middle of the frame, the eye line kind of feels like you're about his thigh. So since he jumped, he helped you out, but just want to get a little lower. This is back focus. There's times when you do that. In this photo, I think you want to be on that other guy's face, the number three's face coming back at us. This is the wrong direction. You definitely want to be in front of this play. It's nice, clean ISO. You got to get lower. You got to get below. You got to be shooting up, and you got to be focused right in on those eyes, because those eyes under the helmet, like we can see them and all that. But if you got lower, this dude looks like a movie star, or like a, you know, some kind of like superhero or something. It's just a totally different vibe. I like that you're underexposing, kind of trying those different things. This one feels like kind of like there's not a purpose to it. Like it just kind of feels like a messy frame. So I like this. This is a cool little fan shot. So lighting outage in the second half. That's very cool. That's funny. Yeah, that's really funny. So this is cool. Like this cool little, like, so if you had that dark frame, but you had a frame like this where it's like, you know, it's kind of like focused on one player or something like that. Sometimes those things are a little more fun. This is a good photo, but again, like you got to get lower. Like if you're lower, then I'm looking up into this pile rather than like down onto them. Like, and that's what's killing stuff like this. You always want to be sitting down, kneeling, because right now you're like looking down at them, and I'm like, oh, like these kids are playing football. Whether it's like, these gods are playing football when you're looking up at them. This is all right, little frame. I know this is like a best of gallery, so that's a good place to be for like the announcements. So what I was talking about before, exactly, like, you know, you're looking up, nice big kind of hero shot is what we call it. That's nice quiet moment. Good celebration here. I know everyone's college students, so I'm not going to harp on technical, but like these are really noisy photos. I know it's like you have no control over where you're shooting, but some of them are like noisy enough that like it's a little bit distracting. I'd rather see good frames that are noisy though than like bad frames that aren't. So yeah, I think I got a good vibe here going on. Oh, that's cool. That's a fun way of seeing it. Yeah, I think I got a good enough sense here. Give you some stuff to go off of. Trent, I would just like organize this stuff a little bit more. You know, try to get it a little bit more focused, a little bit more sorted out. You know, what you're going to want going forward, what kind of job you want is going to make a lot of decisions on how you organize this portfolio. A big thing would definitely be you have a lot of sports, put them in a sports gallery, like just put them right on their own thing that's just sports. Just so people just go right to it. They see what they're seeing, and you know, they know where they're going. And then communications photos, kind of hard. If you want to work at a school, then like totally keep them in, obviously. And even if you didn't, if you wanted to freelance or shoot sports or something, you can make you can, you know, do work for a communications department and then do sports as well. You know, just start talking to other pros and stuff like that, and try to learn what those paths are and like what they do. There's a ton of jobs at colleges working in communication departments where you get to shoot all the sports, you get to have all the best gear, you get a good salary, you get all the important things. So like I'm not gonna like dump on communications photos and stuff like this, because there's certainly like money to be made making those kind of photos. But if you're gonna go out and you're like, well, I did this in college and now I want to work for newspapers, I'm looking for newspaper internships, and my goal is to work at newspapers and news. A very small number of these would probably fit that category. I mean, a small number, but less of them would fit in kind of that target demographic. Just because a lot of the stuff, it just like a newspaper is going to hire you to shoot like all of these college move-ins and college whatever, and 20-year-olds donating their time to whatever. So what that does for you though is that you have to then go out and expand that portfolio and find new ways to make the work that a newspaper client would want to see. And that's going to be the real next step, so to speak. So next up, what do we got? Chris Winslow. Will that pull it up? I think. Nope. Sorry, hold on. No one's asking me questions, so I can't talk. So we're losing viewership. Sorry, I'm just being funny between people here. I got a ton of people. I think this is Chris. Yep. Cool. You guys still there? You're there. All right. So the next person we have is Chris Winslow, living in Massachusetts. Looking to either do sports professionally or trying to read in. Anyways, shoot sports in the Northeast. So in Massachusetts. So get you guys back on the computer screen here and see where we're going. There's some kind of website platform where everybody has it. It seems to work all right. So I'm gonna back up just a little bit. So we got like a lot of stuff, and like I say with everybody, probably too much stuff. I'll just go right off the front, Chris. You got a lot of work here, and we're at like what, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. We got to be at least like 36 pictures here. That's probably too many in my opinion. There's no wrong answer, but I feel like a lot of people would be like, I don't think a lot of people are going to get through all 36 pictures. Number 2, first frame's kind of weak. I just by that skim, I don't think this is going to be a leading photo. You want to start strong. You want to start off with something that's going to just grab people immediately, and then you go from there. Stuff like this also, like I know this is probably a big event, and maybe this is your first time covering an event like this. I have no idea. It's a guess. No offense meant if it wasn't. And maybe you're like stoked on doing this, but this is kind of like not a portfolio picture, so to speak. Maybe you'd file it, but I don't know if I'd start with that. And something like this looks, this is more of the meat and potatoes. This one's a little bit blurry, a little bit tilted. You want to be a little more in front, maybe. I like those smoke and everything, but the vertical super wide angle is not the most flattering look, and it doesn't feel clean, doesn't feel as organized. So I'm not as big a fan of that. If I had to pick one of the first 5 pictures, I'd start with something like this. Like if I'm going to come and I'm hiring you to shoot sports, I want to know you can shoot action. This is action. So this is a nice, clean entryway photo. Nice. I'd probably crop this cheerleader out and just come in a little bit on this side and just get to this guy faster. Then we keep these fan hands, the kids' fans, and we also hide this empty bleacher. So I think I'd just come in on this yellow, and I'd probably take it off the top if I was trying to stay on that 2:3 aspect ratio. And yeah, this decent fan shot, got the excited fan, wearing the crazy basketball hat. This dude on the bottom left and the credential and stuff don't really add much to the photo. So I'd probably like crop somewhere like this. And then we get to it quicker, get rid of the unnecessary stuff. And I'd shoot it tighter, but if you didn't, I'd still kind of crop that stuff out. Good action, guy carrying the ball through the crowd, getting all that done. It's really close to clipping that toe, and I feel like I want a little more space around this stuff personally. So just back up just a tiny bit. I assume it's a little linebacker celebration based on the number, the jersey, and stuff. It's a fun one. I just want to get those eyes. It happens to me all the time where you get the helmet and that stupid railing goes or whatever right in front of the eyeballs. I just there's a frame right before or after this where the head tilts and you get those eyeballs in there. It's just gonna help it a little bit more. Nice, fully extended. But again, a portfolio, I kind of want to be on the other side. I want to have that face. If you're going to stick with this one, which is fine, I'd probably crop in a bit just because this toe is cropped. I'd probably come in a little bit on closer to the basket in that action there. Decent one. The splash, dude feels like he did not want this. He feels like he's blocking it. It's not the cleanest one though. We got the other photographers in there. We got the other stuff. It's good to get it, but he's not excited. He's not mad. It's kind of an almost for me. This one they played on a hill. Just straighten those out. I mean, I always like straighten them out. I tilted horizons are a pet peeve of a lot of people, so I just straighten those kind of things out. Good to see him battling for the ball. I don't shoot a lot of lacrosse, so I'm not like a huge. I don't know a ton about it, so I'm not the best expert. I'm jealous of these knee pads. These would be awesome for football. And when I tried to buy them, I could only find them in like a kid's large, not an adult large. So that's all I'm thinking about. But no, nice. It's clean. The background's knocked out because it's out of focus. So that's good. But yeah, straighten it out. You want to have them playing on a level field. Watermarks, I can understand why people put them on there, but they can be distracting. Doug Flutie. The Canadian great. The greens are super distracting. If you're gonna do this, you got to go low or get his face, one of the two. I assume it's actually Doug Flutie, but it's just a picture of a name. It's kind of a little bit not what we want. This one feels a little out of focus, maybe. Wow, I can really zoom in on this site. You just got fact checked by your website. But it's a little bit out of focus probably, but it's good action, good emotion. She's looking for the basket. I'd probably crop up a little bit. It's kind of going through everybody's knees, and it's kind of hard to have like cropping at joints is like always kind of hard for people to look at. I don't know why. It's like one of those rules that we just all have. And that's like clean, nice football action. I like that. I like the light coming across the field. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's nice. This one feels from a technical standpoint, looks a little dark. It looks like it could be brightened up just a little bit, or maybe just your brights need to come up a little bit. Like the jersey looks dingy. This looks even dark. So maybe you come up. You just want to get cropped in a little better. And it feels like this is like an almost like this is like a photo you might file, but not a photo I'd put on my portfolio. The portfolio photos you really want to like really stand out. Like this portfolio, big tackle, big moment, players colliding, all that stuff. While this feels like I shot basketball, and not as good. This totally take out. I take this out too. It's not super clean. You gotta be shooting this basketball tighter. I think that's the big problem. It's like these are all like feel like they're maybe cropped. This is probably at like 100 or something, and needs to be at like 135. You're gonna miss a lot of stuff, but who cares? Like it's gonna look way better when you do get it. Totally out. No way I'd put this in a portfolio. Super sad, but like I wouldn't have that in a portfolio. So again, shoot tighter. This is just so far back, and we don't have the court, so it's like, why are we this far back? I would crop this one into like maybe here-ish. And it's still like you can only crop so much. It doesn't fix the problem. The problem is that like this wasn't shot tight enough. And so like all these people are like really in focus because this is all, it's just not a long enough lens. Like you need to be zoomed in. Like you can't just crop to a good photo. You got to like shoot with a tighter lens, which is hard and sucks. But anyways, if this is probably, like I said, probably like maybe 100 millimeters or something like that. If you zoomed into 180 or 200 and you shot for that mid hip and you follow them up, that background gets way cleaner. We get in the action. Like all the pieces are there. It's just too wide for me. Similar story here. Basketball, you're just shooting too wide. It's just too much of the background. This is just like too in focus. Even like at this is probably at 70 or something, right? And we're cropping through those knees. While if you just tighten this up and we came up to that hip and we're shooting a little bit tighter. I mean, you don't have to, this one you don't have to go a lot tighter. This is just a small amount tighter. You're gonna get in and just everybody's gonna just look better and get tighter on that action. In football, you do it. Football, you got it. Football, you're shooting with a 400 or something like that. You just got to tighten up on the basketball. This is pretty good. Technically, you're shooting into that shadow. It's pretty underexposed. Brighten it up, shoot it brighter too. But it's just dark on the screen, so it's a little hard to read. But it's good peak action. This isn't tight enough to probably justify not having the helmet be all the way there as far as the crop goes. So I'd probably come in on the bottom. That'll help with this. But it's definitely just a little too dark. So this is a good fight over the ball. I like this face back here. So this one actually works. It feels like it's a little bit off of a moment, but it's a good battle. It's a good little battle for the ball. This one's a little bit tilted too. Just needs to be tilted over. See, this one makes a little more sense to be shooting wider. You kind of got, we got the floor, we got the basket, we got all this stuff in there, these pieces, and they're a good distance. But this one needs to be like tilted. It feels very like tilted one way or the other. But yeah, it's a cool little detail. The helmets, fun. Yeah, it's a cool little detail. That's a good little football picture there. Good pick. I mean, I'd probably crop it a tiny bit tighter, but nice catch over the receiver or receiver catch over the defender. Both ways, nice. So this is nice. So with the other one, this is a little bit tilted, a little bit less clean. This one's even more clean. And yeah, this is nice stuff. That's pretty good. I want more space above. Like his helmet is just barely touching the frame. We'll double check that's not me on this website. Oh no, where did it go? Did I lose it forever? No. Yeah, so it's just a little tight on the top. And this happens when they jump, things like that happen. But it feels like you're standing. Just get lower. It gives you more play up there and a little more space. But Army Navy game, epic game always. This one feels like an almost. Again, like we just got too much. Like we're just too low and just crop up from the bottom at the least. That's a big, nice impact. Nice shot down the field, clean. Hands in the face. Yeah, you're definitely better at football. See, there you go. Like, there you go. That's exactly what I'm talking about with basketball. Is we have this like nice, clean, tighter shot, and it's way more successful. This is a little bit dark. It could be a little bit brighter, but I like the lighting and everything. It's very dramatic arena. But like this is what you're talking about. We got a little bit of that hoop. We got the full ball in there. I think you could probably crop a little bit of maybe this a little, like maybe an inch of this bottom off or something. But we got that emotion. We got the hands coming in. We got the face. That's like way stronger. How you struggle with these? I file them. I don't know. Unless there's some like really epic story about these people, like the coach or something. But I wouldn't put this in a portfolio. So that's a much better driving the basket. Again, you are tighter. Like it might be the same focal length, but for how close they are, you are tighter. So maybe you're just like hitting 70 or wherever this lens ends, and on here it works. But so this feels right though, even though it's full length. We got all these things, and then the other photographs, I said it might be too much because they're so much closer. Like this all works for me. That's nice. This feels like a 300 down court or something. A nice reach in. Much nicer than the other basketball stuff earlier. This one feels a little like it's got a technical issue maybe. I just crop off this orange guy though, for sure, and bring it down a little bit. It looks a little hot. Like we're totally like we have this nice side light coming in, and it feels like we're kind of exposing for like the shadow when we have this beautiful light. But I definitely crop out this guy on the left. He's super distracting. They do that on purpose, by the way. I've been told they literally do that to like ruin stuff for like TV cameras. Why? I don't know. It's good going for the ball. I just feel like we're like looking down too much. I feel like the camera should be tilted up a little more. We got like all the way down to like the middle of their thigh when all the action's like coming out of the frame. A nice little drive to the basket. This feels a little bit off. Just not as clean as the other football stuff. This also just doesn't feel as nice. This one feels a little weak too. That's a way better walking out photo. Which who would have thought? It's from a much smaller team like U Albany or whatever. That's nicer. Colors are great. The light's great. The intensity and that coach's weirdo face. But anyways, much better. This one again, we're looking too low. We got to tilt that camera up. Nice stiff arm. That's nice. I wish we could see more of that player on the right, but it's just what happens. But nice clean action. Nice. Again, just need to tilt up. I mean, there's just basketball is a vertical sport. They're gonna go up, but all these photos we got like way too much of their thighs and like knees and stuff in there. That one we don't, but it feels like it's got some technical flaws maybe. A good battle for the ball. You've got a lot of basketball in here, and it's not nearly as good as your football. Like this is great, This is great, dude. Breaking through the line, both feet off the ground, clean frame, 400 millimeter probably. It's nice. It's awesome. And then we got like this, where like the ball's out of the frame, their feet are cut off, faces, and like portfolio sites, like just don't put this stuff in there. You know what I mean? Like if you show really good football, you're gonna get probably hired to shoot basketball if they need you there. Most of the stuff is geography. If somebody needs you where you're at, you'll get work. But like this football stuff is much better than the basketball stuff. These are a little canned. These people on the right are totally not into it, so I would take this one out. It's a good little battle for the ball. Technical stuff, it's just really noisy and grainy, or it's out of focus. This is better, much better than the other basketball stuff, though. I think it could be cropped even a little bit tighter. That's a nice battle for the ball. They're on the same team. So that's weird. But again, I think this could be cropped a little bit. Maybe just come in maybe something like this. And sorry, it like shows the other one, so it's kind of hard to like, yeah. So maybe something like that. That's a lot cleaner. Super funny that they're both on the same team. This is I don't know about that one. Army Navy's wild game. This feels canned. I don't know. I personally don't like stuff like this in a portfolio, but it is what it is. Coach photos are something you need to get. Again, I don't know if I really put it in a portfolio unless it was really something special. This is all right. This is this is all right. This is a good thing. I think you just want to be like probably cropped in like the middle of her over to this bench. Like this is all good, and this is kind of all like not necessary. So like something like rough crop, but like something like that. So we get in there. It's a rough crop, but I think that you get to it a lot quicker. I know it's like a super famous coach and all that, but again, like no one's gonna look at your portfolio and be like, you got that coach. Like it'll impress somebody, but it won't impress photo editors. So it's an okay emotion. If he was losing his then I would keep it in. Decent. I just like these photos gotta be really special to be something like that I put in a portfolio. I mean, peak action is gonna sell your work. Like that's the most important thing. And then these photos, like, this is okay. But it's not like nothing I've ever seen before. And I feel like that'd be more of a goal with like an opening shot like this in a portfolio. I wouldn't put this in a portfolio. It's an Instagram post or something, but yeah, I get that it's like the last one, so it's kind of like what you see or something like that. So yeah, cool. Yeah. So yeah, solid stuff in there. The football is like really solid, like great stuff with the football. I would cut out a lot of stuff in this portfolio just in general. I think there's just a lot. I think like you're putting in a lot of basketball, and I would focus more on the football and only keeping the best of the basketball. And that would make it a lot stronger. I mean, that'd be my big opinion here. But like, when you have football photos, like, where's that really going? I mean, like this is a great example. The guy breaking through the line, which I can't find right now. Oh, like this, like lead with this, like 100% lead with that photo. Like that is great, good action. That would run. If you did a story on this guy, it's a great little photo of that guy. Just has all the pieces you'd want in a sports photo for something like this. But yeah. And you got a lot of colleges near you. If you're in, from a personal standpoint, I would say if you're in Massachusetts, you got all kinds of schools up there. I'd be trying to hit up the athletic directors in those areas or the opposing teams that are coming to visit. You're gonna have so many athletic directors and stuff coming to see you or coming to that area. So obviously you have Boston College and stuff, but like this is a strategy that other people can employ is that, you can look at a local team schedule and find the teams that are coming in, and even Division II or Division III schools, they'll often hire somebody to photograph for their away games that are in your area. And I think in a place like that, where it's super saturated with sports photographers and you're really close to a lot of places where staffers exist, that'd be a really good way to make money. That'd be my personal opinion. But yeah, I think this might be the last one today. There are a lot of people, and Trent, you are very welcome, man. If you want to chime in, if you're still watching, and tell me what you're looking to do next, I would love to give you more advice on what I would do with that portfolio. But yeah, so that is probably it for today. Don't go dropping off the feed just yet. I know like I see 11 people like hanging on. Number one, if you're not subscribed, if you're one of these 11 people, just go subscribe to the channel. I'm going to do more of these. Number one, there's probably people watching that are like, I sent you my portfolio. I picked people at random. I'm sorry. I just went through the email. I just picked a handful of people. Somebody dropped off. It went from 11 to 10. So I literally just said, don't jump off the stream. And somebody jumped off the stream. I don't like whoever that is. I have no idea who it is. Your secret is safe. But anyways, so I try to get through everybody. I'm going to try to do another one of these on like Tuesday, probably. I've got some pending assignments I'm doing, so I'm trying to figure those sort of things out. But like, yeah, probably Tuesday or so is probably about where I'm going to do more of these. I've probably got 4 or 5 more. If you're watching and you sent in your stuff or you didn't send in your stuff and you wanted to, send in your stuff. I mean, let's add you into the list. I'm probably not going to do a call for people next time because I've got 4 or 5 people. And I would honestly keep going right now, but I have an interview for my podcast in like 20 minutes with a guy from Poland. And I can't really push that along because it's going to be like 10 or 11 o'clock at night there. If you're not listening to the podcast, that's also a lot of fun. It's called Reciprocity Podcast. I interview photographers, sports photographers, photo editors, and they're all like really long conversations. And it kind of tries to answer all the questions like, what are you doing? How'd you get here? What do you, blah, 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 all this stuff. So hopefully that'll be helpful as well. Trent, yeah, okay, sweet. Yeah. So so what I would do is focus on those things. You're going to have to add to what you have now and add in news. There are news events that are kind of similar to what you're doing, and it's probably a good idea to start there. But you definitely want to add in and look at what people are doing. Number one, depending on where you're at in like the internship process, internships are going to be a huge help, especially in news. Like internships, you get shooting every day, stuff like that is going to help a ton. That'd be my number one suggestion. Number two is hone your website to who's going to hire you. You're already working for your school. You don't need to show off more of their work. If they're like stoked that you're doing all of this stuff for them, that's great, but they don't need to be like, if you don't want to work at another school, then like you don't need to show more of that stuff, if that makes any sense. The sports though, yeah, I mean, just keep hammering at it and, put it up. And like I said, on my website, and people I see that I like their website a lot, I just keep things super easy labeled. And I just have sports, and then I'd have like, university communications or like, something like that. And like people are gonna see it and they're cool, he's going out and shooting these things. But just kind of hone the portfolio to what you want to be doing, not what you are doing now, if that makes any sense. Chris, Yeah, man. So Chris said, he appreciated the critique, which is awesome. It's so hard. Like you get in your own little bubble and you got stuff going on, and it's like, oh, what the heck am I doing? What am I doing with all this stuff? And like I need to find a new point to jump off of or to push through, and that's super hard. And I'm a really rough critique person. I've always been rough, even when I was in college. I was always like the type of person that's like, well, I'd rather yell at people and get yelled at and get better than just be like everything looks great. Like it doesn't help anybody. Like but yeah, Chris. I mean, the big thing here is like focus on your strengths. You got I still got your stuff up. So the big thing here is going to be get rid of the BS, the basketball, the Kobe Bryant thing, the flutie pictures, stuff like that. Like editors want to see that you can shoot peak action, and if you aren't good enough to shoot peak action, keep working on it. Like anybody, well, I shouldn't say anybody, but a lot of people can go get this basketball photo, but not as many people can get clean stuff like this. I mean, that's what you want to separate yourself. And when it comes to portfolio, you really want to stand out with like what is my best of the best of the best of the best. Like that's what I want to have in there. That's what I want to have going on. And that's like all I want to show people is because I just want like this is the thing I'm the most proudest of. And when you're learning or growing and stuff like that, you gotta like keep updating, sadly, quite a bit. Like I said, if I would try to work for these ADAs, athletic directors or whatever, ADs, I guess they're not ADAs. It's assistant district attorney. But anyways, I would try to work for these opposing ADs. There's a lot of schools in that area. There's a lot of Division 2 and 3 schools. And they will pay. I mean, they will pay to hire you to come shoot their team. I have friends who like worked at colleges that were really small, and I'd be like, how do they pay you what they pay you? And they're like, they're little private D2 school, but they still want to cover their sports or whatever. So, you always hear about that. I mean, the one thing I will say, it seems based on your portfolio that you're trying to get into sports to make money. There's not a lot of money to be made in sports. I say this all the time to people, and they're always like floored by that. It's cool to do. It's whatever. There's a lot of people that want to do it, and there's a lot of people who are willing to come do it for free. And then people who make a living at it, like myself and a lot of my friends, it makes it really hard for us to make a living. And we're not making much money anyways. And currently we're dealing with this whole new normal that there is no sports happening, which is super weird. But like pretty much all of us are just out of work. I do other things too, so I'm all right. But yeah, I mean, so it's even at the top of the ladder when you're making all the money in the world doing sports, you're still not making a ton of money. So it's kind of hard. But yeah, so that being said, that's why I suggest these other schools, because you got great football stuff. I'd like just troll the college football schedule within a 2-hour radius or whatever and hit up I just show just football on a portfolio and say, hey, I shoot football. Do you want someone to cover I see these games, you want to cover? And I think like you'd have no problem. The work is good enough to do those things. So from a housekeeping standpoint, there's like 9 people still watching this. And if you're watching this on replay at this point, you are a nut job and I love you. Going to hopefully get this whole technical thing sorted out. I don't know what is going on with YouTube. Whenever I try to start these streams, they seem to hiccup every time. The first time it was like 20-30 minute delay. Today it was 20 or 30 minutes. I'm not super experienced with live streaming, so I'm still learning. And it's difficult. So hopefully going to get this more sorted out. Chris, you're so welcome, dude. Subscribe. But I'm hoping on probably Tuesday, depending on this next assignment, hoping to do more of these. Or it might end up being next Friday, who knows. But I'm hoping to do another one at the beginning of the week because I got so many portfolios backed up, ready to go. So I'm going to put them in a text document today and just have them all sorted out and ready to go so we can fire through them next time. And hoping that I can get this technical stuff figured out. I still got 15 more minutes before I got to go. Does anybody have more questions or things that they'd want to answer? I mean, there's still just as many people watching now as there was an hour ago. So that's why I figured I would ask. And since I'm not in a huge hurry, why rush off? Maybe. There's no 3 dots on YouTube Studio, so I have no idea if anyone's typing, by the way. I'm really sorry. So I just got to awkwardly drink my water and stare at my laptop. Maybe not. No one's dropping off though, so maybe everyone's typing. So yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on all this stuff. Definitely subscribe to the podcast if you're not already following me on Instagram, but I bet you are, because that's where I posted all this stuff over there on Brett in Real Life. But I try to add more stuff to this channel. So if you're new to this channel, I'm always looking for ideas on what to add. So just go find a video and comment on it. There's probably something somewhat related to what you're looking for. I haven't done a ton of stuff, but it's hard because like as you build a YouTube channel, you have to get like 1,000 subscribers and like 240 hours of watching or something each year. It's like an insane amount of watching you have to even monetize it. So I don't make any money off of doing YouTube. I actually just spend money on crap like this streamer box. But anyways, the point being, it's really hard to find ideas, and it's really hard to find like the next step of what to do. But yeah, so if you have any questions, nobody said anything, so hit me up on Instagram. Over there on Brett in Real Life. The podcast is Reciprocity Podcast, where I share a lot of stuff of this kind of caliber as much as I can. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. So hope everyone had fun. And if you're watching this as a replay, leave comments.